This is everybody's day. This is everybody's day. God are supposed to be gates of knowing the one who does the works. That's why when my brother spoke to us the other time, the miraculous is not supposed to end with an act. It's supposed to be a gate to a person. That's why they are called signs. Are you with me? Like the signboard. There's a signboard out there saying 4D restaurant. And that signboard for a few years have created the wrong appetites in people. Because people come in deciding to eat and they find out that it is only bread that can quench hunger permanently that they can eat here. Are you with me? So we have to put a notice outside so that they don't spend their last transport fare stopping here instead of getting to Alata. There is a person at the end of the experience of the acts of God. There is a person at the end of every season. He wants to be known. That's why he orchestrates the seasons. That's a second kingdom structure that governs your reality of seasons. 3 is the alignment in obedience of the saints. I want to announce to you that obedience is a kingdom structure. I was sharing yesterday and I said that, you see, in this kingdom, the good in any land is the exclusive preserve of those who are willing and obedient. The land that was referred to in Isaiah chapter 1 is not heaven. It's a natural habitat. Are you with me? So obedience is a structure. It has the ability to create a lot of administrations. One is to feed of the good. Another one is exaltation. Of Jesus, it was said in Philippians chapter 2 that he obeyed unto death, even the death of the cross. Wherefore, God that highly exalted him. It means that structure also administers exaltation. Lord, lift me, lift me. When last did you obey him? Is somebody with me? So, there are many more, but these are 3 basic ones. The will of God as one of the kingdom structures that defines or brings into the reality of seasons the shape of the Christ that is introduced in reference to the season. 3 is the alignment in obedience of the saints in relation to the kingdom demands for that season. My emphasis is the shape of the Lord. Daniel 12:32 helps to flesh out that aspect. 12:32, not 3. Help me now. Or it doesn't go that long. Okay, 11:32. 11:32. Okay. The Bible says, and such as do wickedly. So there's an established covenant. To do wickedly against the covenant is to function, live life, may be pleasurable, but against that which is written, against the terms of your existence. The Bible says that, and such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. That's what Brother Joseph was bringing to us. The enemy comes with subtlety to beguile those whose hearts have been positioned to act against the covenant. But the people that know their God shall be strong and do exploits. And I started saying to us since 2016 that the concept of doing exploits here is not to work miracles. Because the context of this writing is in being deceived and not being deceived. Are you with me? So, what we call, one of the things that we will call exploits, that will cause strength in the last days, is to resist deception. You may not raise one dead person till you go to God, but your ability to say no to strange influences to say no to strange communications will be a sign that you have found strength and that you do exploits. What strength in mechanical engineering? It's the ability possessed by material to resist indentation and deformation. If it was straight, you bring a hammer, you hit it against it, it's still straight. That's strength. When it is acted upon by an external force, let me announce to you that there are internal forces too that seek to deform, they seek to weary our conviction. And as we go into this trying season, whether it is life in general or this exam season, there are external forces and internal forces that can weaken your conviction and deform you. That's why we see people speak in tongues and they carry chokes. You know what choke does? Rushes fuel into your gem. Christians also carry it. I remember during my GC, 2 sisters were caught. They were Christians. We didn't see their hair till they finished GC. We only see the lower tip of their ear, no earrings. Their ears are bound, but their ties have inscriptions, have formulas, boys' law, that any free person can cram. Child's law. It was on the day they wrote physics. They saw her lifting her clothes. Her gown, her skirt was sweeping the ground. But she knew how to pull it up and quickly write. So they were caught. And we felt ashamed. The problem was that not that they didn't believe in Jesus. It was that they didn't know him enough to be strong. There was an internal temptation. There were voices within that told them, you will fail now. And where is that you want? And so they decided to compromise. Just like a brother or a young lady can also come into a strained relationship because of survival. You see things that are out of reach without. And then your heart begins to communicate with you that if you don't take this opportunity, you may be out. That song that we used to sing, oh Jesus, I promise. He says, my foes are ever near me, around me, and within. So you don't need anybody to speak to you. You see, the administrations within your soul, many a times will still give admittance to communications that can corrupt you from within. So the Bible legal instruction, or the scriptural instruction, is to guard your heart with all diligence. You can't protect what comes out of your heart. You can only keep it, protect it from what enters it. For out of it are the issues of life. Okay. So there is a, am I done? So the emphasis is the shape of the Lord. And I have here written that it is a shape that must be known. That's what Daniel 11:32 says. You must know it. On the many layers of knowledge. One is that you must be able to recognize it. That's what we call cognitive knowledge. 2, you must labor or press into the experience of it until you become one with what you know. In other words, you must embody the knowledge so that you don't need to go and find where you wrote it. It becomes one with you. You can be spontaneous in your responses. No, I'm not that kind of a person. You will have said it before you remember that, oh, I promise you, Jesus, I will not deny you. It's one with you. Because knowing equals strength, and knowing positions for adequate resistance when the deceiver comes. There is a shape of the Christ that enables the believer to operate with the consciousness of a predetermined end. And I'm going to begin to round up from here because my focus is to address your exam season. There is a fear that comes. and I'm sure it's more for 100 level students. Because you have been told that you must lay a rock solid foundation for yourselves. That this current exam is not going to look too much different from what you did in secondary school. And if you had an A in mathematics, you should be able to do an A in math 101. What did they do in 101? Set theory. Okay. Matrix. Okay. Sequence and series. Okay. So they've told you if you don't score an A, you may change that A till you graduate. So you're afraid. But you see, the comfort of scriptures makes us understand that the kind of spiritual experiences that the believer was designed to have were clearly stated in the Bible. If the shape of the fear is damaging, if the shape of the fear is not reverential, the Bible clearly states that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, of power, and of a sound mind. And I like the arrangement. Is that the arrangement? Love, power, a sound mind. It means the first assignment of that spirit is to overwhelm your heart with the consciousness of the love of your Father. That as you are concerned about scoring an A in Maths 101, God is more concerned. He's your real sponsor. Your parents are just outlets. And in street language, he also is not interested in your in his money entering the bush. May God give you understanding. Because he loves you, he doesn't want you to shed a tear and failure. Because he loves you, he's conscious of your emotional state. But he doesn't leave you just with that consciousness. He administers potential by also manifesting as the spirit of power. You have the potential. And the last time I checked, you were not potentiated to fail. You were potentiated to succeed. So you are not going to write an exam from the grounds of one who is laboring to pass. That songwriter says that the journey is from victory unto victory. So you have been victorious by potential. The exams are just an opportunity for you to deploy your victorious potential into a realm that other human beings can relate with. Are you with me? It's like me coming to say, I'm anointed. Or like I come to say, I'm gifted. And believe is saying, God, not say that thing again. Read the book that I just read there now. Can you see the book? And I wasn't looking for a book. I just greeted him and they brought it. But it's a supernatural ability. Are you with me? Good. So, whether I do that or not, I have the potential. He's giving me. But if he wants people to come into the fellowship of it, he makes me do something to show that that is who I am. It was by the utterance of God that Jesus confirmed that he was a son that God had approved of. He didn't need to turn stones to bread to prove it. Are you with me? So that's the startup mindset. That we're already there. The third thing it gives you is a sound mind. It means you are gifted for articulation. Even if you need to read chemistry and biology the same day, you are not writing biology into chemistry. Maybe you heard the intro of our sermons. Pastor Timothy was there with me that day. God has an expectation. That day I had two meetings in Ilorin. I just finished a Baptist church and my daughter Simi came to me and said, it's time for a meeting. So we just drove from one meeting to another meeting. Now, how do you make that the beginning of a session? is too loud, too bold. So as we're coming, I just flowed the oil from that session and came and screamed, God has an expectation. That's how I started the session.